great, I'm done, right? Well, maybe not. Take feedback, get some advice from some folks who maybe during your build, and then, don't close the feedback loop. I mean, again, keep it open.
Welcome to the Innovation Forge, where I'll be sharing the quick strike interviews recorded at Slate Summit 2025.
You are listening to the Innovation Forge, the #1 podcast on adaptive enrollment management, exploring the data, marketing, and strategy that fuels higher education. Here's your host, David Dysart.
What's the first thing you ever built in Slate? Not the biggest, not the flashiest, but the first. Was it a broken loop of test events, a janky mailing that somehow worked? Did you click run query with your eyes closed? Well, we've all been there. The early builds, the awkward starts, the imposter syndrome, the wild joy when something actually works. Oh, well, I still experience all those, but that's beside the point. Or maybe that's been the whole point all along. In this episode, we're going back to the forge floor, to those first sparks that lit the way. 7 Slate professionals join us to talk about what they've learned, what they wish they knew earlier, and how they're helping others grow. This one's for the curious, the scrappy, and the ones still figuring it out. You'll hear from people painting rooms and building courage, folks making data usable for others, and the Slate BFFs that show up and do the work. Welcome to Quick Strikes, recorded at Slate Summit 2025. This is episode 1. Start small, think sharp. Let's see how starting takes shape today. Thank you so much, Annie, for doing the podcast. Can you maybe tell the audience who you are, where you work, and a fun fact?
Sure. I'm Annie Lehwald, and I work at Stevenson School in Pebble Beach, California. And we are pre-K through 12 independent school. But we have boarding options, which make it a little bit more like a college. And a fun fact is I love painting rooms. I love painting and I have painted almost every room in my house at this point and removed borders, and it's so much fun.
Are you getting to a certain color palette, or it's just like, I'm just going to paint the room this weekend?
I'm doing Revere pewter in my entire house, and it's because we inherited a 1990s house, or bought a 1990s house, and there was like peach and woolly color and like borders, and it was gross. So that's where we're at.
So you may like painting, or you may just want to live in a nice home. Either way, what's one of those two things? And then what is some advice that you'd give to your younger self starting out?
Yeah, I would really suggest to not be worried about being the smartest person in the room. I think a lot of us that got into Slate got in because someone said, oh, you're really good at this. And then you start working and you start getting promoted to Slate captain. And then you realize that you are a big fish in a small pond. And then you go to somewhere like a Slate Summit and you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's so much smarter than me. And so to tell myself, like, just soak it in and kind of acknowledge the strengths that you have and acknowledge the weaknesses that you have. And then learn from everybody else. And then one of my coworkers told me, use Slate AI to ask your stupid questions. So I had asked questions that a toddler should not be asking, like of my boss. And I was like, wow, whoa, what could Slate do? And asking stupid questions. So now I've transitioned to asking my stupid questions to Slate AI. And then Slate AI is like, wow, a toddler would know these things. And so it's been really helpful to like acknowledge where I am really falling short, and then also just like learning a little bit more and being more humbling, but so it's a really helpful tool to use.
I feel like I also ask Slate AI and ChatGPT and all those things, all the dumb questions, and I made the mistake once of like having it describe me, and now I'm still very self-conscious about what the AI thinks about me now. So don't do that. That's a terrible life decision. But that's such great advice. Thank you so much. Can you tell the audience where they can find you and connect?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, and that's pretty much it at this point. Maybe the Facebook user group, the Super Slate users from 1,000 years ago, but I don't look at it very often. So
that's fair. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. Enjoy the rest of Slate.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining me again on the podcast. Maybe you could introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, where you work, and a fun fact.
Sure. Thank you. So my name is Ben Parsons. I'm the Director of Enrollment Operations at College of the Holy Cross, and I've been working in Slate and a Slate captain for almost 4 years now.
Wow. And do you have a fun fact for the audience? You have several. I don't remember what we talked about in your full interview.
Fun fact. I don't know about a fun fact, but I will say right now I'm really excited about the new observatory that has just started like releasing its pictures of the galaxy. Venus Rubin, is that the name? And I just scroll like deeper and deeper into those pictures. So that is exciting me right now.
That is pretty great. Yeah, it's amazing. They just get better every time they build one of the. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, this is even fancier than it was last time they did this photograph. And so, what is some advice that you'd give your younger self?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. It is very easy to cave to self-doubt and maybe that ever-present like imposter syndrome, and I think that the process or system that I built, that it has to be absolutely 100% perfect, and if it's not 100% perfect and captures every single use case, then it is therefore a failure. Like it is so much more useful and so much more important to launch a tool or process that captures 80 to 85%, and leverage the versatility that Slate offers to make adjustments to capture that other 15 to 20% on either tail, and like get other people involved, get feedback, and doing that helps. It really helps create that culture of constant iterative improvement and working towards those successive approximations towards a shared goal.
No, yeah, that is definitely something I've heard from multiple people, and I think this is advice and something that almost every single person in the Slate community needs to hear, to just like let it go and just put it out there. That's such good advice. Thank you for sharing that with the community. And if folks wanted to reach out to you or connect, what's the best ways? I'm in the forums. They can find me. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Definitely reach out. I'm always happy to chat and geek out on all things Slate. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben, for taking the time to do another interview. I hope you have a great rest of your slate.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, David, for joining me here on the podcast. And maybe you can introduce yourself to the audience a little bit, who you are, where you work, and a fun fact.
Hey, hi, my name's David Garzon. I'm here with Karen University. It's been really cool. Like, fun fact about this, like I learned about Karen when I was in high school. I worked at the cafeteria, did my undergrad there, then worked there, got my master's. So I've been around for 10 years, even though I've been working there for 3. So it's been a wild ride for sure. So I'm right now doing the CRM management and with the enrollment operations and support staff for marketing and admissions. So it's been a good ride. Yeah.
That's so fun. Yeah, that's so interesting to have such a strong life cycle with a single institution like that. And what's kind of sparking innovation for you lately?
Yeah, I mean, for myself has been recruitment specifically for the counselors. Like beforehand, we had like a CRM that wasn't really a CRM. It's like Microsoft Dynamics. I'm sure you heard of it. And so when we made the switch, one of the things for me, like I was a very data-driven individual, looked into data, like where do we actually yield the most? And for myself, I was like, how do I actually empower the counselors to use data in a simple manner? And one of the things was in my head was like geographically. And so I encountered Voyager. And then from there, I put down the students who applied, who got accepted, who enrolled, and the schools they're associated with. So all that information was on one spot. And so what it actually did for the counselors was it made it simple for them to analyze the data. Because for myself, back in the day, I had to go to the query, like ask someone for the query, look at the data, cross some numbers, before AI, all that kind of stuff, Excel sheet, whatever. And then I was like, I want to make this simple. I want this to be tangible for the counselors to empower them. And so that's been really sparking my innovation. It's just looking to help counselors travel better, engage better, and also finding the right students, right, for the right mission. And that's such a great point that you're bringing this particular tool in, because there's people who use Voyager to, again, varying levels, but it's really underutilized from what I've seen with most institutions. That's so exciting that you're able to empower your staff so much with it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I hope you have a great rest of Summit. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how should they do that? Yeah, you can get a hold of me. You can just email me at dg957@cairn.edu. That's my student email, so I'm always checking it, you know what I mean? So But yeah, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to tell you guys a little more about Voyager, help you set up something, anything like that, or maybe just strike a conversation and get to know you better too. I mean, I'll be happy to do that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. I hope you have a great rest of Summit. Hello, this is David from the Innovation Forge.
Hi from Slate Summit. This is Paloma from UC Riverside.
Hi, Paloma. Thank you so much for doing the interview. Maybe you can introduce yourself, what institution you work for, and if you have one, a fun or not so fun fact.
Hi, yes. So I'm Paloma Barragan, and I am from UC Riverside. I've been there for about 2 years now. And a fun fact about myself is that I love to dance.
Oh, very fun. And what would be your Slate's BFF, your best friend that helps you work with Slate?
Yes, my Slate BFF would be ScribeHow.com, known as Scribe. And I love it just because it's useful for students to, and for staff as well, student worker staff, to see step-by-step how to do different things in Slate with screenshots and notes as well.
That's awesome. Are there any projects this has helped you with that has empowered you in your office?
Yeah, so for having students build out events, or staff as well, or build out deliver, when you're building out multiple things and your users are new to Slate, I think it's helpful to show them step by step with different clicks on exactly where to click, what to type in, maybe different templates to use, or even just like internal naming formats that you want to use. I think it's really helpful to use it that way.
Sounds like a great tool. Thank you so much for sharing it with the community. And if folks wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way?
Yeah, you guys can connect with me on LinkedIn or also by email.
Awesome. I'll drop those in the show notes. Thank you again, Paloma. I hope you have a wonderful Slate Summit.
Thank you, and I'll see everyone. Hopefully everybody has fun at Slate.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, Tommy. And maybe you can introduce yourself to the audience, your name, where you work, and a fun fact.
I'm Tommy Kroll. I work at Columbia College Chicago. I've been there for about 19 years now, spanning student to worker. And I'm a pretty big nerd. I love all things like Marvel and Star Wars, and I try to inject that in the work I do. So
That's great. And then how would you advise people or give people advice on how to be a better Slate partner or a data partner in an office?
Yeah, I think it's really important to just be present and not be the IT or data person who's behind closed doors, or maybe who the people who work for the institution don't even know you exist, which I know that's pretty common in our world. I really like to be front and center. I do the trainings for Slate myself. I don't have our recruitment managers or anything like that train on Slate or query building. I also, strive for access in Slate. I think it's really important for everyone to have a little basic data training, and just be accessible. Really, I give everyone my cell phone number and tell them to provide feedback, or ideas even. We love ideas and innovation, and a lot of those come to fruition in a lot of ways. I'm actually working on, we have an idea to make our internal records look like MySpace, and have your one friend Tom sitting there underneath your profile picture, and like someone came up with that, and I want to run with it because it's like the user's idea for their user experience. So why not, right? So just be really present, be in their face, let them know who you are, be accessible, and work with them when they have problems or when they have ideas even. Because it goes a long way.
That's so true. And I like how you're talking about being a present partner and being mindful about that role. Any tips for how people can kind of channel that in their own work?
Yeah, so, I'm a big person with like meetings and such, so I love one-on-one meetings with folks. When I onboard, everyone gets trained by me for onboarding. They have 3 sessions with me actually. I also love to I participate in office culture too. So I decorate the office with our team, and I volunteer to work admissions events even. I'll work the check-in booth or whatever. Something in my world. At our open house events, I do on-site admissions. We launch admissions decisions for anyone who's attending and had already applied. So I think it's just get involved in the culture. Be part of the admissions office and not just enrollment management or the IT department or wherever your Slate role is housed. and just be there for that team. I think that's the best you can do. And as I always say, just give a shit. Just give a shit, right?
Thank you so much, Tommy. And if folks wanted to reach out to you and connect, what would be the best places?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Tommy Kroll. You can search me there, Columbia College Chicago, or my email is tom@colum.edu, first 5 letters of Columbia, COLUM. Yeah, you can find me anywhere, really. Shoot me a chat or an email.
Thank you so much, Tommy, for doing the podcast, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Slate. Hello, Megan. Thank you so much for doing the podcast. Maybe you can introduce yourself, where you work, and a fun fact for the audience.
Hi, I'm Megan Story. I work at NYU's Office of Global Programs. We handle everything that looks like or actually is study abroad or study away at New York University. I'm their Slate specialist, so my role is 100% Slate-based.
Great. And what is maybe like a fun fact about yourself?
So a fun fact as we're here at Summit 2025 is that I just started in this role a little less than 3 months ago, and my team has been super excited about coming to Summit with me. And so last night they surprised me by wearing shirts that said, "We're with Megan Story," which was delightful and so supportive of them. All the supervisors out there, look for clever and fun ways to support your team and show them that you're proud of them, because that just made me feel great.
I was very delighted when I saw that. That was amazing. And what is maybe something that you're taking away from Summit, or what your experience has been like so far?
You know what? So far, I feel like a lot of people have really stepped up their game in terms of presentations. And I think that is exciting in terms of just their presentation skills, their slide design, the perspective that they're bringing to their presentations. People are going above and beyond, doing more than just some screenshots on their institutional PowerPoint and moving beyond that. And I think we're in a situation where a rising tide lifts all boats, and I think people doing that then helps us all set our expectations and our standards just that little bit higher. And not that we want to judge each other, but for ourselves, I think seeing people try different things like that is inspiring, and not just for Summit presentations, because that's once a year, but as we are doing our training, our Slate training with our staff, as we are thinking about how we're building out portals and emails and the other things that we do in Slate dashboards, if we are seeing people do ingenious and clever things in their PowerPoint slides, I think that helps us think through what are the possibilities in terms of just design and perspective, ways to approach things. And that's really exciting to see people who obviously are experiencing some sort of joy or delight in what they're doing. When I tell people I work on a higher ed CRM, that doesn't sound necessarily delightful and joyful, but you really can bring that to the work, and it's exciting to see people do that.
Yeah, I love the creativity and the innovation that people are bringing to every aspect of Slate, whether it's the presentations, the tools, the projects, and all of that. So thank you so much for sharing that with the community and the audience. And if folks want to find you, Megan, online?
You can absolutely find me at LinkedIn. I'm MP Story or Megan Story. I'm also a community ambassador, so I'm active in the Slate forums or the Slack group.
Great. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike, for joining me on the podcast. Maybe you can just introduce yourself, your name, where you work, and a fun fact.
I appreciate it, David. So yeah, Mike Dalsano here. Very happy to be here. So I, of course, I'm your colleague, right, at Stevens. So we've been working together, I guess, since February, right? So I'm even newer than you at Stevens, right? But so I serve as a director for enrollment management systems, and yeah, like I said, been there since February. So still new, still acclimating, but actually reacclimating, because I did, spend I guess from 2010 through 2017, so 11 or an 8-year run at Stevens before. So I've got some history. Took a little gap, and now I'm back. So definitely happy to be back and excited to be working with you.
Very excited to work with you as well.
I shared this when we met with our president back in February. Is that again, even before that first stint at Stevens, when I was, I guess I was 10 years old at the time. There was this place called Blockbuster Video that we all remember, and in our neighborhood, again, not the smallest or biggest neighborhood, but like, you know, a semi-large competition of, this was Super Nintendo. No, I'm sorry, Sega Genesis. Okay, we got to get the system right. Combination of NBA Jam and Judge Dredd. So a citywide video game competition. I was, able to win a pretty dominant victory in this competition at Blockbuster Victory. I remember the leaderboard. Like, these are actual vivid memories that I have of you kind of going in every week and just seeing the gap get a little bigger and bigger. So yeah, I would say back in the day I could game a little bit. I haven't touched a video game system in about 10 years or more. My kids are getting of the age now where they're going to start playing video games. So we'll see if I still have it.
No, I think you will properly take them to school when they start back up. Yeah. And what's a piece of advice or a tip that you'd give your younger self?
Yeah, no, and I think that's just a thought that I think is so helpful because, again, I'll share, but you give advice to your younger self, but then you can actually apply it to your current self, right? So I think that as I was thinking about that, again, just from looking back, say 10 years to my prior Stevens self, right? If we go back that far, something that comes to mind is just to really, I guess, embrace this idea of like, all right, like kind of continuous improvement, and you can think of that to, on a personal level, right? Just like to improve yourself, right? Whether that's, day to day, just kind of, okay, a little better every day, whether that's your fitness, how you attack the day, how you plan, how you organize. Again, obviously could apply to your work life, right? Okay, so I'm imagining like an example in Slate. If you're taking on a new project or a new part of the system you're not familiar with, it's like, okay, don't feel like you have to learn it all in a day. You don't have to, work a miracle. It's like, all right, like kind of continuously improving your skills, right? So it's like, all right, building on a skill set. One thing I appreciate about Slate and being back working, in the ecosystem is that there's tools available, there's a community available, right? So whether that's a knowledge base or forums or meeting up with staff here at the summit, you can really develop skills. You can probably do things you never thought you were capable of or knew you would even have to consider doing. So I feel like, just the advice is to kind of have the long view and just like, hey, try to keep improving. It can apply to yourself, your skills at work, but even your projects at work, right? So it's like, all right, I've built this, great, I'm done, right? Well, maybe not. Like you could you could kind of keep after, take feedback, right? Get some advice from some folks who maybe, again, during your build, take feedback then, take it early, take it often. And then, right, don't close the feedback loop. I mean, again, keep it open, whether it's the users or how often you're going to get review and feedback. So I felt like, thinking about that, it's like, all right, like that's, again, advice that would apply 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but even today. So I feel like, all right, let me apply that now.
Yeah, and I think that's such great advice for the community to hear as well, because we can get a little stuck in the day-to-day sometimes that we're not thinking about continuous improvement and development and just having that mind space to do that. That's a big ask sometimes. So it's an important thing to focus on. And if anybody wanted to reach out to you, contact you about this or other things, where's the best place?
Yeah, so I'm a little old school. I'd say probably just the work email. I mean, I have some social media, but I think probably just mdalsant@stevens.edu. So that's work email. Otherwise in the Slate community, I'm starting to become more active as I'm reacclimating. But I think the work email is a great place to start.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. It's been wonderful to work with you in the last few months, and also thank you for doing the podcast. I hope you have a great rest of Summit.
Hey, I appreciate you, David. Thanks so much. It was great talking to you too.
This episode explored the emotional and practical starting points of Slate work. It highlights the bravery of asking questions, the joy of small wins, and of course the humble beginnings behind the great system builders. Each guest represents a different type of first step, be it learning to trust themselves, empowering others, or even joining a new community. I hope these small interviews have been helpful. If you enjoy them, let me know. I'll be sure to do more. For those watching the video, or willing just to see our next mascot, I need a name for our segment, The Consultant Cadre. Send me an email at theinnovationforagepodcast@gmail.com, or find me on the socials like LinkedIn and Instagram to comment your suggestion. As always, I'll send the ebook of The Innovation Forge to all winning name submitters. If you enjoyed today's episode, please grow the guild by rating and reviewing the Innovation Forge podcast, or sharing it with a colleague who needs to hear about these creative crossovers in education. The best review or comment every month will get an ebook of my book, of course. Particularly great ones will also be featured on future episodes. Thank you so much for joining me in the workshop today. Remember to strike true, and let's forge something extraordinary together.
Great, I'm done, right? Well, maybe not. Take feedback, get some advice from some folks who maybe during your build, and then, right, don't close the feedback loop. I mean, again, keep it open.